back at it again. It's the State of Football here. Tuesday, August 17th, 2021. This is Season 2, Episode 12, Part 271. Ric Serritella, telling it like it is when it comes to the NFL draft, football, and everything, spanning the globe, searching for talent. So excited to bring you the names you need to know. Since 2002, it's what we do, and we are celebrating our 20th year of covering the NFL draft. And how about Sports Illustrated celebrating, I forgot to mention it yesterday, I think their 67th birthday. So I think they have a sale, if you go all access on the NFL Draft Bible, all Hoosiers will have Tom Brew in just a moment. You can save, I think they're charging $67 for the year, which is usually, I think, $99. So happy birthday to SI. We failed to mention that yesterday. Also, again, continued thoughts and prayers to Danson Bartow as he continues his battle with COVID. We are thinking about him. Today, we're going to have Russ Lande in just a moment, my co-host each and every Tuesday. It's a tutorial Tuesday. We're going to talk football, chop it up, hang out with Russ, talk some CFL. Of course, we'll have a CFL representative tomorrow as well, along with my co-host, Amanda Ruler. We'll have a representative of the European League of Football. And that's what we are here on the State of Football. We're talking football around the globe. But today we'll dive into some CFL. We'll get Russell's reactions from NFL preseason week 1. We'll talk about his Allouettes coming away with the W. I've got a couple of players to put on his radar from my scouting trails. Had a chance to get out to Connecticut over the weekend. I talked about Central Connecticut State prospects on yesterday's show, but I told you I would save UConn for today because we have a Canadian quarterback there at UConn, and that is the perfect leadway into our guy, Russ Lande, the director of U.S. scouting for the Montreal Alouettes. He's joining us live right there in beautiful Chicago, I believe. Is that where you are, Russ?
Or Cape Cod, same thing.
Or Cape Cod, of course, blowing up the spot. Enjoying the final countdown of these summer days, but for you, Montreal did not play week 1. You guys did play, however, week 2 and got off to a good start there. And you had the fire starter there with the big punt return, Mario Alford, I believe. And he reminded us of his explosiveness and big playability.
Yeah, we were very fortunate. I mean, Coach Jones, our head coach, Kahari Jones, really got the team ready, got them pumped up. And I think the whole team seeing that week 1 action, they wanted to get in on the action. And really, it was a great team effort. So excited that it went well. Week 1, the team came out and they played not only smart football, but played with energy, aggressiveness, intensity. And can't wait. Friday, we play Calgary at Calgary. So it's going to be a big week 2. We got to get out there and play our best game. But I'm excited with Coach Jones leading the way and our GM, Danny Machocha. I think we're in good hands, and I think we're pointed in the right direction.
You guys are in great hands with Russ Lande, the director of U.S. Scouting. Are you kidding me? We're in terrific hands here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation on Sports Illustrated. And one of the things we're trying to do is we brought you John Hoover from Oklahoma. Last week, Russ, we had Brooks Austin, who did a great job with the Georgia Bulldogs. And today we have Tom Brew from the Hoosiers Nation there on Sports Illustrated, covering Indiana from front to back, upside down, inside out at the Big Ten Conference. Fresh off their number 17th ranking in the top 25 poll there yesterday. Tom, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing great. Thanks. Excited to be on the show and talk some football. We're right around the corner now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're there. And I appreciate you hopping on here. You're here with Russ Lande, director of U.S. scouting for the Montreal Alouettes, Ric Serritella, NFL Draft Bible. And, of course, you can follow Tom at TomBrewSports if you want to be covered with the Hoosiers now. If you're watching at home, a lot of great content, including the latest on the quarterback situation. We'll dive into that and more in just a second. But first off, Tom, let's talk about that number 17 ranking. Based on their body of work last season, some might say this is a little bit disrespectful.
Well, maybe so. They after the bowl game loss, they finished in the number 12 in the final AP poll, and not sure what they did wrong all winter to come back in at 17. But obviously, it is a new season, and they're for as much talent as they have coming back, there certainly are still some question marks most notably the health of quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is coming off the ACL injury, but so far so good in camp. He's looking good, and he's not nobody's touching him, of course, but he's doing all the drills and being a full participant and should be good to go. But we'll have to see. It's certainly a very tough schedule, and it starts tough right out of the gate with a conference road game at Iowa right off the start. So this is an Indiana team with a lot of excitement around it, and but a very difficult schedule too, with a lot of tests, especially some big ones on the road.
Yeah, no easy matches in the Big Ten, and maybe the voters, Russ, trying to get familiar, used to seeing Indiana in the top 25 here, but they had a phenomenal season, led by a terrific head coach, I believe. But what do you got here, Russ, for Tom today?
Well, I think what's interesting is Indiana's gotten a lot of publicity for what they've done offensively in terms of the changes they made over the last, say, 8 or 10 years from what they were. But I think defensively, when you look at this team, that secondary really is part of the strength of this team. When you look at Jalen Williams, McFadden, and I'm going to screw this up, Marcelino Ball. They have a lot of talent on the back end, which has not been the case at Indiana in a long time. To have that many guys in one class that really have a chance to not only help that team win, but really play at the next level.
Absolutely. And we just had that conversation yesterday that what has always been the downfall of Indiana through the years was they never had any depth defensively. Like once you got past those starters, there were no twos and certainly no threes. And that's definitely changed now. I mean, even Juwan Burgess, who's the second string safety, who's a backup, he could play anytime, anywhere, and be that good. And their cornerbacks are great. Reese Taylor and Taiwan Mullen, the young kids, and they've got plenty of depth there as well. And I personally think Micah McFadden, you mentioned his name. I think he's one of the best middle linebackers in the country. I really do. He's really his game has just improved dramatically every year, and he's ready for a big senior season. And happy to share a little bit of news with you guys since we got you here. Just signed the deal with this name, image, and likeness stuff. Micah McFadden and Michael Penix Jr., the Indiana quarterback, are going to join me for a weekly podcast on my site every week, all during the football season here, starting on August 31st. So a lot of people get to know those two guys really well during the course of the year too.
How about that? Breaking news here, TomBrewSports. That is outstanding, and that is why I love the NIL and what it's allowing us to do. So there you have it. Make sure you follow them at TomBrewSports, of course, over at SI.com. What is it, /Hoosiers, Tom?
Hoosiers Now takes you right there. Yep, but that's always the easiest way. But the long version, the SI.com/college/Indiana is always there. But we have the nice little shortcut now. Hoosiers Now takes you right there.
Hoosiers Now. Yeah, it's like a John Gruden play call, right?
Exactly.
Of course, check us out over at Sports Illustrated, Fan Nation. Big shout out to TomBrewSports giving us the lowdown here on Indiana football. Nobody covers it better. Tom, and Russ mentioned Marcelino Ball. What a lightning rod type of player, and really exciting to watch somebody who does have pro potential, but it seems like he's always banged up. Is he healthy now, or what is the status of a Marcelino Ball?
He's still wearing the blue jersey and not doing a lot of contact, but it's very much just precautionary now. I've been told he'll absolutely be 100% for the opener, and we will more than likely peel that blue jersey off next week when they start game prep for Iowa. He's done full recovery from the ACL. He's in a great state of mind mentally. We had a chance to talk to him last week, and he's just really looking forward to just sort of this last ride at Indiana and doing some damage. He's been a great player ever since he got there, but he has, like you said, dealt with the injury bug. And in 2019, he was blowing people up, having a great year. And then, of course, last year tore the ACL in camp and missed the entire COVID-shortened season, but he's ready to go, and he plays that Husky position for them, that sort of hybrid linebacker safety position, and they use him in a lot of different roles, and I think they're expecting big things from him this year.
Tom Brew, HoosierNow.com, at TomBrewSports, along with Russell Lande, Ric Serritella here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. Russ, you got one more for Tom?
I do. You know, one of the things I'm interested because in the CFL, we're always looking for those guys that are right on that fringe, the guys that are probably good enough to get in the NFL, but maybe not good enough to stick for the long term. And one of the guys that a lot of NFL teams have said you should keep an eye on because he's a guy that's probably going to get a chance in the NFL, but they don't know if he's going to be able to stick for the long term is offensive tackle Caleb Jones. So he's a guy I'm really interested this year to really watch, take a peek at, and see where he stands. Is he a guy that I should really pursue, or are these guys a little off and that he's going to be able to stick and have a long career in the NFL? So that's one guy I can't wait to take a peek at this season.
Yeah, Caleb Jones is another one of those guys that has just improved his overall football game every year. And last year was strange, with COVID and that. He was, I think those guys, when they got out of that 24/7 football routine, he had to struggle with his weight a little bit, and then he was dealing with some things. He had an inconsistent season, but his good games, when you pop in the film from his good games, they were really good. He's certainly got the size, 6'7", 340, 350 range. He's been up to 380, 390 before in his career. He's much healthier now. His footwork, they've worked hard on that through his career. He's a very good right tackle. He's been had to thrown in on the left side every once in a while, but he's got the talent. But, yeah, no, I definitely think that's somebody that you need to keep your eye on because it's I think, as you well know, especially with the NFL, a lot of times for tackles, it's all about fit. Like, what team do you wind up with? And what do they need that backup guy that can be versatile enough to flip back and forth, or are they just looking for that road grader run block guy? Are they looking? It all depends on where he lands, as to whether or not he'll make it. Now, I do think he'll get a chance. I do think maybe someone takes him late in the draft, but certainly it would, just because of his size, there'll be interest. But I don't know. I said, I would think from your end that he absolutely would be somebody you keep an eye on and could maybe find a nice place to land with you guys.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He's
always
intriguing.
working.
You got to be working. And I'll tell you what, the thing that makes it intriguing is there are a lot of offensive tackles that are not super competitive. And when you find guys that are competitive and have the size, those are often the guys that outperform a lot of the guys that may have a little bit more talent athletically. So to me, that's what I really want to see this year is where does he show up in terms of being in shape, competitiveness, and consistency? If those three things are great, then I think he's got a chance to play on Sundays.
I think you're right. And I'll give you one more name while you're watching Indiana film this year to keep in mind with linemen. Dylan Powell. Plays center, but he's also capable of playing guard and bouncing back and forth. He is a very capable guy at all three positions. He's a transfer from Stanford, played last year and played well when he needed to. He's more than likely going to start this year either at center or guard, and he's having a great camp. He was very physical, and he was the best offensive lineman in their scrimmage on Saturday. And real sharp kid, obviously. He's got 2 degrees already. You like those kind of guys who can play 3 spots on your offensive line. And he's a big, strong kid. He can play well too. So when you're watching Caleb Jones film this year, make sure you check out Dylan Powell, number 72 as well.
I am on it.
Thank you for that, Tom. I will check him out for the NFL Peay Collegiate Bowl as well. Tom Brew Sports here on the state of football. Tom, I got to keep you for one more. I mean, we got to talk about Ty Freifogel. Some people surprised that he returned for another season. I mean, he was lighting up that Ohio State Buckeyes defense like the 4th of July, had some really big games. What's your read here on Ty Freifogel?
Well, I think part of it is, there was just so much uncertainty last year about what was going on. I don't think he was getting the grades from NFL people that he was kind of expecting to get because he did it was certainly a breakthrough season last year for him, but it was really his first, real time in the spotlight. And, I think he's got his eyes set on bigger things. I think he wants to be a starting wide receiver in the NFL. And I think he thought that maybe one more year in the system and refining some skills. And, when I talked to him last week, one of the things he really wants to work on this year is his separation and making sure that his moves are better to get open quicker. Because there's no question he proved last year that he can get loose balls and he can catch the ball in traffic and really do a great job with that, and had some huge, massive games, and certainly catches the eyeballs of a lot of people. But he'll come back, and he and Chris Olave are the two best receivers in the Big Ten, in my opinion, and he'll certainly be a primary target for a lot of these guys. But Indiana's got a lot of depth at that receiver position too. So if people try to double or triple team him too much, they're going to get hurt by other people.
Great stuff here from Tom Brew. Make sure you follow him at TomBrewSports. Of course, HoosierNow.com. Tom, we didn't get into the quarterback situation. We'll let everybody go to the website and check that out. I know you've got your finger on the pulse, covering that around the clock. What else you got cooking over on the website that fans can expect to see?
Yeah, we got plenty going on with football all week long. Like I said, the rankings are out, and then this is the first time Indiana's been in AP's preseason poll since 1969. So it's a lot of excitement heading into this season, and great game with Iowa for starters, a great non-conference game with Cincinnati that everybody's got their eyeballs on, and of course, some big showdowns with Penn State and Ohio State and Michigan down the road. So certainly very excited about what's going on with football. Had a big basketball weekend as well, and we got it all covered there, and really looking forward to having a great what should be a very entertaining Indiana football season, and Big Ten in general too. A lot of interesting teams to watch there in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time the football team had more hoopla surrounding it than the basketball squad? That is Tom Brew here on the State of Football, part of the Fan Nation Network on Sports Illustrated. Thanks a lot, Tom. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Tom. Thank you.
Absolutely. And Indiana, Russ, kind of the Rodney Dangerfield here. Get no respect, but hey, in the polls for the first time since 1969, Tom just said, amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I know that they had a short stretch where they did well. For some reason, the name of the head coach is slipping my mind right now, where they went to the Peach Bowl and did some good thing. No, it was like 20 years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
They went to like 4 or 5 straight bowl games. But Bill Mallory, there you go, Tom. That's the guy I was thinking of, because my buddy played under him. And my buddy played outside linebacker, special teams, was sort of a backup there, now works in the NFL as a director of college scouting. But he always talks about, like, when are we going to see Indiana get back to where it needs to be? And now maybe they're finally making that stride to – it's one of the best college towns in America. Bloomington's an amazing place to go to college. I think if more players would give it a chance, go there and visit, I think they'd fall in love, and Indiana would become a powerhouse in football. It's a great, great school in a great college town. And I always love going there for visits. They treat you like royalty.
Well, hey, I think they're on their way. I mean, they're doing a great job with the recruiting there. Suddenly, I mean, we talked about a half a dozen players on the NFL radar. And how about Dylan Powell?
Yeah.
That was a good one. I mean,
I'm typing him in. I typed him in before so that I know at least I have the guy's name in there so I can remember to refer to him and find some guys that want to come up north if they're not going to play in the NFL. Although, unfortunately, a lot of guys with that Stanford, Harvard, Yale pedigree, they can earn more. They can earn more going to Wall Street than they can. Yeah,
the CFL salaries aren't really necessarily competing with what they can make with the Stanford degree. But great stuff there. We'll have to have Tom Brew back throughout the season there and continue to monitor the situation at Indiana. Now, I've been traveling this great country, Russ. I'm heading out to Wagner, actually, right after the show. One of my favorite trips of the scouting trails. Beautiful view of New York City. Though. It's one of the rare close ones. I'm taking the local bus this week. I have Wagner today. I'm heading down to Ocean City for the Villanova scrimmage. You know, you always got Mike Mayock's usually hanging out there with the Shore House and a couple Terry Bradway is usually there, but he retired now, so I don't know. Yeah. But we'll be at Villanova. The Raiders are knee-deep
in training camp. Right?
Who's that?
The Raiders are knee-deep in training camp.
Yeah, sure, but that doesn't mean they're not scouting.
Agreed.
And I think Mike Mayock would love to be as far away as possible from John Gruden right now. But I'll be at Monmouth on Friday. That's about as close as you can get. But the traffic on the way back to the Jersey Shore, I can't imagine how long that one's going to take coming home. So it's going to be a fun week. I had a chance to go out to the UConn scrimmage this weekend. Yesterday, I spoke about the Central Connecticut State players that I saw. Today, I said, hey, I'm going to wait for Russ because they have a true sophomore quarterback expected to start, Russ, that is Canadian born. I don't know if you're aware of this. So I wanted to put that on your radar. And, UConn has had a slew of Canadian prospects.
Jack Zergotius?
You know what? We just called him the Canadian kid. So I don't, you know how it goes.
I'm pretty sure that's my guy because they got
a sophomore.
Yeah, and they got a senior guard who's Canadian. So
okay,
they got like 11 Canadians on the team. They grind in Canada, so that's a team I'm always visiting.
I'll tell you, they got a lot of Canadian players, but for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl purposes, I wanted to go check out Ryan Van Denmark because Kevin Dunn, the owner at Test Football Academy, I think put him on my radar a couple years ago because he was doing some off-season training and said, hey, UConn's got – and he started at left tackle the last 3 seasons. And so you talk about a lean, really powerful team captain, high character type of player at the left tackle position. He's 6'6" and 5/8. I think he's at 302 right now. He's got a frame to grow into. He could add another 15, 20 pounds easily. But he's been wearing this weighted chest protector throughout training camp, but definitely a player that we're keeping an eye on and somebody that the coaching staff I know speaks very highly of. But Ryan Van Denmark, one of the players, along with your Canadian offensive lineman, I guess now we'll have to put on the radar. So UConn, not a NFL factory, but they do have a couple players on the radar. And Travis Jones, is a potential top 100 player, Russ, who is going to draw some scouts. In fact, there was a half a dozen scouts hanging out at the scrimmage. Had a chance to bump into Cassidy Kaminsky from the Chiefs over at CCSU, who also popped over at UConn. And Travis Jones is drawing him in. He's 6'4", 330, true nose tackle. And also, coming out next year, another player just to put on your radar, Jeremy Lucian, the cornerback, great length, 6'1", 196, just was covering sticky coverage, man coverage, zone coverage, great instincts. So I just gave you 3 players out of UConn, and you gave me 1 plus the Canadian quarterback. UConn, I will say, there was a renowned intensity, Russ. There's a sense around the program that, you might not see a lot of W's in the column, but they're going to be much more competitive. And I think they're 2 years away from really kind of getting that program back on track.
Oh, I think there's no doubt. I mean, if you just look at Randy Edsall was the guy who sort of turned it around before, and then he left, and now he's come back. I think there's no doubt he's got the program headed in the right direction. I think you can expect that over the next 2 seasons, they will not only get better on the field, but they'll continue to add recruits because Randy's very good at finding guys that want to help turn around a program. He's able to identify guys that are team-first guys that have a real belief in wanting to be part of something bigger than themselves. So I think you can look at UConn and really see a very, very bright future there, both in terms of recruiting young men that are going to want to win and getting the players on the field to start winning games. So I'm excited for the future of UConn, and I love it because it's one of the schools I always go to because they always have Canadian players there. And the kid, I misspoke. He is a senior, but he is actually a defensive tackle. I had my note on the wrong guy there, or on the wrong line in my Excel spreadsheet. He's a defensive tackle, but he's a senior Canadian that is there this year. So I'm definitely going to be paying attention to see which guys from UConn are ready to come up north. It's not that far a drive from Stores right across the border to Montreal.
Not too far. And, I'll tell you, I was up in Hartford. I was down hanging out in hard-hit New Britain. By the way, what better place for the NFL Draft Bible to be hanging out other than Five Churches Brewery? I heard this was Russell Lande's favorite spot on the scouting trails, the Five Church Brewery. They're very religious there in New Britain. But, I'll tell you what, the beer, shout out to my Steeple people, outstanding. And coming from New Jersey, I can vouch for the pizza, Russ. Brick oven, the margarita pie, worth the price of admission. So if you make your way over there, Yukon, Central Connecticut, Southern Connecticut State on a Friday night, by the way, week 1. So I might just have to mosey on up and catch myself back in Connecticut, which isn't too bad. There's not much to see out there. What a boring drive. I mean, really. Is there Ohio's up there. You see the Five Churches, the wood-fired pizza, all that stuff. The Steeple people, all my Steeple people.
Luckily, they don't have the picture of all the empties that were next to you when you were done. So,
man, I'll tell you. And shout out to my guy Mook Williams, who I had a chance with to connect and made the trip on down from Boston. And shout out to all our chat room people. Tom Goodhines, we see you. Good morning. Paust, he's a beast. Good morning, Mark Paust. All on it with the quarterback. Hey, Samantha, I came unprepared again. My laptop is going to power down. We're on 3%. So we're going to need a little commercial break maybe to reset, get some coffee. Russ, bathroom break. We'll be back in 60 seconds here. We got to reset.
Another Sunday showdown where fearless fantasy tycoons forego the camaraderie of team and embark on teams of their own.
Yes! Let's go.
Nobody cares about your fantasy team, Todd.
Hey!
Maybe nobody used to care about your fantasy teams, but those days are over.
Told you people care about the Todd squad.
Think bigger, Todd. I'm talking about a national fantasy league with teams representing cities and states and managed by fantasy experts who are beholden to us. We're their stakeholders.
I used to be holding a beverage.
Yeah, and then you got chop block, Todd. Offsetting penalties. The point is that we don't have to go mano a mano anymore. Hermanos, sports are more fun when experienced together. And fantasy should be no different. So we'll stake a team, Dean. We'll huddle with our crew, Sue. We'll even DM our GM, Liam. Just like Jerry Jones. How do you like them apples, cowboy?
You have piqued my interest.
Good, because now we can pick the team that we want to run with, the GM that we want to back, the roster that we believe in, but don't want to manage. Because, well, I mean, we all got a lot going on, and some of us have jobs here.
Jobs? Forget it. He's on a roll.
So finally, we can watch our players and discuss our strategy and trash talk our opponents as we watch our fantasy football team together. And if we win,
It's like the fantasy version of fantasy.
no, it's the Hall of Fantasy League, where fantasy becomes a team sport. Are you guys with me?
Yeah!
Introducing the Hall of Fantasy League franchises. The Philadelphia Powder Kegs, the Chicago Hog Mollies, the Boston Barflies, the Vegas Pocket Kings, the Atlanta Hot Wings, the Texas Yallers, the Seattle Haze, the Ohio Goats, the New York Bodega Cats, the LA Sidekicks. Don't miss out on your chance to take part in a new era of fantasy sports. Stake your team today.
Shout out to the Hall of Fantasy League. Check them out. They just had their first inaugural Hall of Fantasy League here. The NFL Draft Bible actually represented at the Fantasy Football Expo in Canton this past weekend. Big shout out to Ryan Searfoss and our guy Johnny on the spot, John Love, the doctor, the scholar out there this week in Canton. Hey, it's the state of football. Season 2, Episode 12, Part 271 edition here on this Tuesday, August 17th, along with Russ Lande, like we are each and every Tuesday. And we mentioned the Montreal Alouettes getting off to a nice start here in CFL action. Russ, your quarterback, looking very in command of the offense, and it seems like every year he continues to progress and develop. And Vernon Adams here looking like he might have something to say about this CFL Cup.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's exciting to see just a young man like him mature from when he first got in the league and just grow up like we all do and just blossom from a talented athlete who flashes the ability to make great throws and struggles with inconsistency and just mature as a player to become really, I think he's on the verge of being a star. And it's great to see. I think everybody that works in this business likes to see young players progress and develop, and I think Vernon is doing that. I think with the tutelage under Coach Kahari Jones, our head coach, and sort of the guru of Vernon, I think it's great. The two of them together are a great pair, and I'm so excited to see what the future is going to bring for the Alouettes and Vernon Adams together.
Absolutely. And, this final score, 30-13, there wasn't as many high-scoring affairs as I figured here. And I think we talked about it last week. The defenses usually ahead of the offenses as at this stage of the game, but not a problem for the Montreal offense. And if you're watching at home, Samantha dropping in the highlights here as you have a look at Vernon Adams and the Edmonton Elks there with their new logo, their new field, and the attendance has been doing very well here. And the TV ratings, Russ, I see outstanding. Almost every game over 500,000 viewers. I can't remember the last time I saw that.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think what you're seeing pretty clearly is that the citizens of Canada love the CFL and they missed the CFL. And the hard work that the league and the teams and the players have put in to being able to get back on the field and test and do all the necessary things to safely play football again has really allowed the fans to get what they want, which is they're getting to see their Canadian Football League back playing. It's great to see, and I think the future is so bright for the league. It's exciting.
It is exciting to see as you hear the Seagulls out. We're doing the Dirty Bird dance out here at the Jersey Shore. It's a beautiful thing on location at the great island of the Jersey Shore, heading out to Staten Island from one island to another. the lava life a little bit more luxurious than Staten Island.
That's
however.
what I was going to say. There's a little bit of difference there.
We'll have to put down a Coney dog.
I think on Friday nights there's a line of cars trying to get into the Jersey Shore. On Friday nights, There's not a line of cars trying to get into Staten Island.
No doubt. Shout out to Brian Beasley. Hey, I'm multitasking over here. So if you're leaving comments and you're dropping them in, I see that you're listening. I know we get a lot of Facebook people, a lot of people that don't always chime in, guys like Daniel Cassidy, the great Craig T. Smith. I know who's watching. I know you guys are out there. So good morning, Brian Beasley, Mark Powers, Tom Goodhines. You guys get stickers for leaving the comments, So we talked about Montreal. I was traveling, so I didn't get a chance to see Winnipeg and Toronto, but the defending champions coming out with the W. My guy, McLeod Bethel Thompson, I guess he was on a short leash. I don't know what happened. I heard that he couldn't get – I was on the Sports Rage show with my good friend Gabriel Morency this morning, and we were talking about, hey, the offense kind of faltered. McLeod Bethel Thompson on a short leash. Didn't get the job done. Nick Arbuckle comes in, didn't exactly fare much better. But interesting on the schedule here this early in the season, Russ, Winnipeg and Toronto with a back-to-back. They'll actually turn around and play each other again this week. Do you kind of like that schedule format?
I always enjoyed the fact that sometimes you get those games like in 6 or 7 days you play back-to-back. You rarely see it in the NFL, on occasion, but rarely. And I think what it does is it's a great test for the coaches because you've just seen them. You've just spent the week prepping for that team, and now you have to do it again. What new wrinkles as a coaching staff can you come up with to be ready? And are you able to maybe show some things in that first game that set up some things in the second game. So I love it. I think it really puts a lot of pressure on the coaches and allows the really good coaches to take advantage. I got to say, Winnipeg, this one to me was not on McLeod Bethel Thompson or Nick Arbuckle. I think Winnipeg just came out and they really, from the get-go, they were playing better football all around. And I think Toronto, it wasn't so much, hey, McLeod's playing poorly. It's we need to spark something. As a team, they just weren't able to get it going. Winnipeg just seemed to be playing better, and I think they were trying to find anything. I'd expect it'll be another good game coming up, but I think Toronto's got a good chance to pull this one off coming up. I think they're going to step up and really play it a little bit better intensity from the get-go.
Yeah, we're going to see how they adapt and adjust here and come back. And this Winnipeg defense somewhat suffocating. I think the defending champs so far, until proven otherwise, still the team to beat. Until somebody knocks them off that mountain, they look pretty good. Don't see any rust there. So Winnipeg off to a good start, 2-0. Montreal 1-0. We hope that the ratings continue to progress. Hey, the ESPN deal proving to pay dividends. Did we confirm a CFL representative for tomorrow? We'll have a CFL rep. We'll have a European League of Football rep. We'll have Amanda Ruler. We'll have Rick the Ruler. We got a jam-packed show. We got even other guests coming. But, Russ, any other thoughts from the week that was in the CFL universe that you want to touch base on here?
You know, I think it was just exciting to see him. And I think for those people that hadn't been able to see it in recent years because they're in the U.S. and they don't really hear about the CFL as much, there were some exciting plays in almost every game that really showed, hey, this is what makes the CFL a unique league. Whether it was punt returns or big plays made off of missed field goals, it was really an exciting game, and I loved it. It was great seeing the games back these last 2 weekends. So I'm just so excited for the CFL season going forward. We have 13 more games. We have Calgary Friday night, and that's what's most important right now is seeing Coach Jones and his staff get the team ready for another big game this Friday night.
Yeah, some Friday night lights. Gotta love it. Russell Lande.
It doesn't just
Ric
happen
Serritella.
in Texas.
Yeah, it happens up north. Hey, Russell Lande, Ric Serritella here, you there. This is the state of football. It's the world of football. We're spanning the globe, looking for talent. We got the Hub Football Camp coming up. By the way, that reminds me, Russ, the registrations are through the roof. Trying to catch up on the film, and I got one for you. I'm going to sprout a surprise. I did it to him last week. I got another one. Let me find out this gentleman's name here that I was watching. Shot out of a cannon, by the way. Prince Momodu.
Uh-oh.
Prince Momodu II.
Uh-oh.
Out of Austin Peay. Wait a second now. Wait till you get a load of this guy. I said, holy cow. I can't believe I said one. And here's a lesson before I get into it. I like what he did here. He put his special teams film first. This is what I like. He put his special teams play first. And so it caught my attention. I said, hey, I like that. And so he grabbed my attention from the start. And then you watch the film. This guy is claiming to be 6'1", 210. He's obviously got some size. But I'm watching the film, and here's the special teams look. Wait till you see him run, Russ. I'm so impressed with this kid because I said, first of all, I can't believe he's not in the NFL. Secondly, I said, I can't believe I never heard of him. And I had to reach out to the Prince on the Twitter and said, dude, I just got done watching your film. And the second video he submitted, it was like a 10-minute long clip. And I just couldn't get enough of him. And I said, Prince, I said, dude, keep on grinding. Your time is coming. You're going to get a shot. And here you look, you know, we're going to let this film roll and let Russell Lande react on the Superfly. But this kid is a really good-looking player, has great size, great speed, and you're going to see as the film carries on here, he put in some work, and I think he just came out this past year, Russ.
Yeah, and you know, you mentioned putting the special teams film on there. I think that's so important for guys to understand, which is unless you're at a Power 5 school and a 3-year starter, a lot of the time your chance to earn a roster spot is going to come through special teams. So if you can show me right off the bat, hey, here's 2, 3, 5 snaps of me making an impact on special teams, that's going to get the attention because it's going to make a scout say, hey, even if this guy's not a dominant player yet, if I think he's a good enough athlete, I know he has a chance to make our team on special teams, and that'll give him a chance to develop. Because oftentimes the difference between the guy making it for the long term and not making it is their ability to make the team on teams to give them an extra year or two to develop, because there's only so many spots on the practice roster for developmental players. You need guys that fill the bottom of your roster that help on special teams, but also are going to get a year or two to practice to get better as players. So I like that guys do that, especially small school guys. Show me what else you can do. Don't just show me you running the ball, catching the ball. Show me your other skills, pass blocking, blocking punts, going down on coverage units. All of those things are going to be key for me believing that a small school kid can make it at the NFL or CFL level.
Yeah, and if you're watching at home, you're seeing the yards after contact, the vision, the explosiveness, the burst. This is a really good-looking player, and I like the fact that he's physical. There he goes, dipsy-do over the top, which, we don't really recommend. I saw somebody trying that in one of the preseason games this past week, and it didn't work out too well, but just really a guy who caught my attention. If I saw 24 players this morning, this was the best player I saw all day. And so Prince Momodu, is somebody I'm going to be keeping an eye on, somebody I recommended for the Hub Football Camp. I think it's a great platform for him. And, coming out of Austin Peay, I'm not sure if this kid even had a pro day, if the scouts even attended his pro day. But, man, this is a good-looking player.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Just looking at this, he's a very intriguing kid. He'd be a guy I'd love to get a chance to look at up close, get a real feel for that quickness, that explosion, those types of things that you want to see from.
There you go, on pass protection. You like that.
Yep.
You like to see a little bit of everything, right, Russ?
You have to see it. The reality is if a guy can't pass block, it's going to be hard for him to get on the field in professional football. So you have to show, you don't have to be great at it, but are you willing? Willingness is 80% of pass blocking success. If you're willing, I can teach you the rest. If you're not willing, that's where the issues come up.
Yeah, this is a guy that's going to fight for the tough yardage and the extra yards. Shout out to Darian Clark, by the way, who had a good-looking couple of carries I saw for the Panthers there getting in during the preseason game. But I wanted to highlight Prince Momodu II, Austin Peay, really what the Hub Football platform is designed for. Tom, are we allowed to talk about the expansion of Hub Football, or do we got to pump the brakes? Russ, by the way, we're going to conduct a little business over the air here. Did you see the tweet floating around from the guy? He was trying to get a hold of you. He said he's got a couple buddies interested in scouting.
I saw a tweet, but he didn't reach out to me. He just sent a tweet saying, hey, da-da-da-da. And I said, hey, okay, great. I said, Rick put it out there, and he didn't reach out to me or anything. Send me a DM, send me an email, whatever it is. Let me get your information. Then we can see where the rest goes. Because I'm telling you, this whole thing is, and I know we can talk a little bit about it, what we're doing in terms of expanding the Hub Football. Hub Football right now is sort of the premier place. Not sort of, it is the premier place. If you're on the street looking for an opportunity to play professional football, NFL, CFL, 100% that's the place to be as a player. But what we're going to be doing, and we haven't finalized the date yet, but it's going to likely be sometime in September, is we're going to start adding sort of another feature to the whole Hub Camp for players, which is we're going to make it sort of each Hub Camp is going to sort of also be a scouting sort of in-person teaching thing for me, and teaching these young people, men, women that want to learn about scouting, want to sort of understand the business, come out there, spend some time doing film study, learn how to measure players, learn the process, ask some questions, really sort of get some one-on-one time with a bunch of people. And then the next day, actually measure some more guys, teach them how to measure the guys, get them out there on the field, teach them how to live scout. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff. I teach a class, for SMWW, and it's a great class, but it's online. So I don't get a lot of in-person time with these kids. This is sort of that next step. You go from, hey, we're doing something on an online chat to teach about football, to here we go. Now we're meeting in person. We're going to watch film in person. We're not going to have anybody there pouring us coffee in person, but we are going to be watching film in person, teach you how to actually measure height, how to measure hand, arm, and wingspan, how to give the Wonderlic test, things like that. Tell them about what it takes to interview players. How do you do it the correct way so you get to know a kid? And then really teach them, hey, when you go out to watch guys live at a practice, how do you scout? I actually had a guy that I've known for almost 15 years now this past week, works at a D1 school, ask me, hey, what do you do when you scout players live? Because I find it hard if I have my normal scouting notebook and there's so many pages and I'm flipping through it. And I said, hey, let me show you. I sent them a copy of my grid that I use, and I showed them how I flip it over and I keep the big guys on one side and the fast, quick guys on the other. And I can just quick notes. You don't need 4 books. You need 1 piece of paper. And it's something we can teach these people, show them the right way to do it. And once they learn the basics, each one we're going to do is going to focus on a position. We may start with running backs. The next class, the next month or 6 weeks, whenever it is, will be quarterbacks. And by the time you're done with 1, you'll have a good feel. By the time you're done with 9 or 10 of these, you will have the basics of scouting each position off of film study, how to watch players live, and how to write a report. Because after you see them live at the workout, you're going to type up a report based on what you see at the workout. You're going to give it to me. We're going to do a Zoom follow-up as a group. So it's really exciting. We don't have the final details of when it's going to be and where it's going to be yet, but I think that's coming within a week or so. And once we get that locked down, I'm excited to be part of it. I think it's going to give a chance for a lot of people to sort of get a feel for A, how do I do this? And B, is this something I really want to pursue as a career? Because as I've said many times, and you have too, Rick, a lot of people say they want to work in football. Once they have to sit there and watch film and watch 10 reps of a guy in pass pro to figure out if he can pass block, or 10 reps of just, is he making the right decision, running with the ball, cutting to the right hole? Does he have vision? A lot of guys say, you know what? I'd rather sit on Sundays, put my feet up, have a beer, and watch the games. I don't really like this watching each play 15, 20 times. That ain't fun for me. So it'll be a great opportunity for people to learn, but also to sort of figure out, is this something I want to pursue?
Everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do beast things. That's Russ Lande. And I could vouch that,
Now, I'm not sure what Rick just did, but I mean, I know he's excited about the course, but.
Can you hear me now? I'm back at it again. We got the back.
Yeah, you're back at it. I said I didn't know what happened. You were so excited about Scout Camp. You just hit some button.
And that's the thing. I always got your back. And what's better than chopping it up in person? It's one thing to get educated by Russ Lande on Zoom. It's another thing to get yelled at by Ric Serritella live and in person, standing next to him. And I always got to test the Russ Lande patience, because he's got his man of great virtue, and he puts up with my nonsense. But you come out to the Hub football camp, which I can say will be in about a month or so, about a month from now in mid-September. And I've got a lot of people, Tom, hitting me up, asking me, when's the next Hub? They're looking into it. They want to apply. It's going to be about a month from now, mid-September, and you will have all the information up on the website soon. Also, it will be in California, if not San Diego, then LA. I hope I'm not giving out too much information, but a lot of people are asking. So I know a lot of people tune in the agent community, the scouting community. Hopefully my echo's not too bad out there on your end, Russ, but we are winding down on this great hour of power. I got to ask you, I know you were locked in with Montreal this past weekend. Any chance to keep up with the QB carousel, NFL preseason, thoughts, impressions, anything?
Well, I think there were a lot of good things that came out of it. I think when you look at Denver, I think with Locke and Bridgewater, I actually think they have to feel a little bit more comfortable now. I think they have to feel that, you know what, we may not be sure who we're naming, but we may feel a little more comfortable that both these guys could at least be the guy for this year to play solid football. The one thing I did think was funny was literally if Justin Fields had just shown up and thrown one completion, the Bears Nation was pretty much ready to go crazy. And don't get me wrong, he did some good things, and I think that there were things to get excited about. But let's also pump the brakes here. Let's always remember, and you may remember this just like I do, that at the end of the preseason of their rookie year, Ryan Leaf had a great passer rating and had outplayed Peyton Manning in the preseason, according to the media pundits. He was the guy. He was the better choice. The Colts had made a mistake. And I'm not knocking Ryan, but obviously it didn't work out that way. Peyton turned into a Hall of Famer. So it's important to take a deep breath and remember it's preseason. You're going against most of these rookie quarterbacks are going against backups. They get an hour in the pocket because the pass rushers aren't so special. So I understand you want to see the good things. And Justin Fields did some good things. Trey Lance did some very good things. Mac Jones did some good things. But let's just remember, take a deep breath. And it's not that you don't play them in the regular season. It's just let's not anoint them stars off a game or two in the preseason. Let's let them go out and actually play football in real games before we get to that point. I think the NFL's got to be excited. They're moving forward towards another season. And the fact that so many teams are getting close to 100% vaccination rates means that they're less likely to have major disruptions like they did last year. So I'm really excited for, obviously, the CFL being back, but seeing the NFL, college football's right around the corner is great. Having Tom on there talking about the Indiana Hoosiers, seeing them get going. So excited for football season. And let's not forget, Premier League started Sunday. Although my Leeds United lost, we're back. And then October, NHL, baby, the Rangers are coming to get you.
Well, on that note, I will also just remind everybody that Conference One Esports, the largest scholastic competitive esports league in the world, is coming to Sports Illustrated. We got Rocket League. We got Valorant. We got big things coming. Over 100 schools going to be registered for that. But hey, what a fun time with Russell Lande here today. You mentioned the vaccines. The Falcons, Atlanta, the first team in the NFL with every player vaccinated. So there's a first. Also, the Raiders, I saw, are now going to require proof of vaccination for all fans in attendance. So some updates there on the COVID-19 protocol. We do have a question coming in from the chat room here, Russ, before we wind things up. And, we take it for granted on these Tutorial Tuesdays to be blessed by the presence of the great Russell Lande, former NFL, CFL, XFL scout, of course, with the Browns and the Rams and the UCLA Bruins. And, of course, cutting your teeth on the pro side under the great Dick Vermeil, Mike Martz. We've talked about it here previously on the show, Russ, but always great to introduce you to new listeners, new audience, anytime, first time tuning in, Russ. We got a question from our good friend Poust, who, by the way, before I even ask the question, I just want to tell you, you talk about people that want to work in this business, somebody who grinds and does the grunt work. Poust is solely responsible for our 15,000 player database, which, oh, by the way, you'll appreciate this, I think is over a 50% date of birth rate. We got a lot of date of births floating around in the database, but Poust is gathering the measurables. He's gathering all the senior starters around the country. He's compiling it in the great database at the NFL Draft Bible. So he wants to know, Russ, what was your role like as a scouting administrator during your time for the Rams? What was it like?
It was great. It was super duper hectic. At the time, we didn't have a lot of young Gophers there. So I pretty much was assisting Debbie Pollum, who was sort of the scouting coordinator, Charlie Army or John Becker, the two different directors that we had during my time there. And whatever they needed, that was my gig, whether it was picking guys up at the airport, taking them for physicals, taking them for lunch, scouting the backups of the opponent, doing a special teams report for our legendary special teams coach, Wayne Sevier. Pretty much anything and everything at the time, and Rick and I can attest to this being old. The NFL on Tuesdays, I think it was Monday and Thursdays, we'd get a big package from the NFL and would have all the beta cam tapes of the NFL games from that week. And I'd have to label them, put stickers on, put them on the wall, put them on a spreadsheet, and distribute that spreadsheet. So every coach and every scout would know, here's where the college games are, here's where the NFL games are with a label on. And you had 6 tapes for every game because you had both teams' offense and defense plus kicks, and you had sideline and end zone, and they were separate. They weren't all merged together. So you would often come in, people had to sign out the tape. Someone would come in, be looking for a game, and I had to go race and find it with another coach's office and everything. But it was a great experience. I learned so much. I even got to do some player participation and salary cap stuff with our head of that department, Jay Zigman. So I really got a great experience working there. Learned so much about football and about how the most important thing if you want to succeed in this business is not your scouting ability. It's not your being brilliant to figure out the salary cap or solve the analytics problems. It's understanding that the success of the team is based on sacrificing of oneself. If you are not ready to make a commitment to the team and worry first about the success of the team over your personal success, then you are not going to succeed in this business.
I mean, that's 1,000% correct. I mean, listen, a lot of people say, hey, family, football, but the reality is you're probably going to spend more time with your football family than your real life family. And if you want to work in this profession, that's just part of the deal. And it takes...
Yep, and you better be around good people. That's one of the things you learn is there are a lot of bad situations. When you find a good one, you stay. The grass is rarely greener. You want to be in a good situation. Good situations make the job worth the time and worth the hours because this business can grind on you. So you want to make sure you're around good people. When you're around good people, it's not that hard putting in the time and the effort and going on the road and scouting.
We're going to start calling you the football Jesus. Russ Lande just preaching the gospel here on the NFL Draft. Oh, what a day. Another tutorial Tuesday. I love razzing Russ, who we pried him away from the great shores of Cape Cod Ocean over there. What else is on your mind? Final thoughts, parting shots for our listening audience? Anything else here before we say goodbye to everybody? And we're awaiting your arrival here at the Jersey Shore, by the way.
Yeah, one of these days I'll make it down there. You know, two things I wanted to mention. Firstly, if anybody thinks that these stadiums that are requiring vaccinations is the choice of the team, it's not. This is the choice of the entities that own those stadiums. This is legalese. They do not want to be liable. They're protecting themselves. So that's where that's coming from. Secondly, you mentioned the thing about the esports. I had a little bird tell me a few weeks ago, it's pretty neat, is if you notice around the country, and you knew this growing up, there's Little League Baseball, Pop Warner Football. There will soon be Little League esports. There's a company that's about to kick off. My buddy is one of the senior people there, and they're going to be across the nation, starting Little League esports all across the world.
I love it.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
this is a big deal.
It's really neat. And I think it gives kids that maybe they don't get out and participate in the actual sport, but it gives them a chance to be a part of a team. And there's nothing better than being part of a team and seeing everything come together and win as a team. So very exciting. I can't wait to see it happen.
Well, I think the reality, Russ, is that today's generation, there's not a lot of public events that does interest them, right? And it's hard to get them to the stadium and the venue because they're fixated on social media. They have so many other ways to watch it. And esports, actually in-person events, is a way for college students, and many of them will call themselves introverted, right? And so this is a way for them to experience in-person events, congregate, be part of a team. And there is something also too, like the Little League of Esports, there's also studies that directly relate to the motor skills to kids that do play video games at an early age. And so this is a big business that's going to explode where, you know, we're bringing the collegiate esports to the mainstream. And so you have the professionals of the Overwatch leagues and such that will be recruiting these college graduates to be the next big pro. But now colleges are offering scholarships so that we'll have high school showcases that will give them an opportunity to compete in front of the colleges, like a recruiting showcase where now the colleges are recruiting the high school kids because they're offering scholarships for esports. There's over 211 colleges and universities who are offering full-time scholarships now strictly for esports. And believe it or not, New Jersey has it's hard to believe, they have one of the most structured high school esports organizations here because New Jersey is the first state where you can legally wager on esports. Nevada is select, but it will be eventually wide open. And there's about a dozen other states on deck here, but esports, sports books, esports wagering, esports recruiting. I tell people, hey, it's the college football model applied to esports is exactly what Conference 1 is coming at you. Woo, baby, we're on fire here at the NFL Draft Bible. What aren't we doing? Between the hub football, the scouting trails with the NFL Peay Collegiate Bowl, we got the fan-controlled football, we got the Conference 1 league, we got NFL Draft Bible Consulting. There's the Conference 1. The Prez, Zach Petra is doing some work on that homepage, but we're going to have the registration for schools to get on board this week. CF1.GG. I'm so happy and proud to bring this to the mainstream and be a game changer. By the way, Russ, did I tell you I'm the commissioner?
Oh, that's bad news. That's scary. That's scary. I think they should make you play in the games. Make you get out there and get them fingers working in order to keep your commissioner status. You should have to at least win one game a year.
Well, next Tuesday, instead of doing a show, we're just going to have the Russ Lande, Ric Serritella, John Madden esports scrimmage.
Well, there you go. I'll lose by 200.
It's been about 20 years since I buckled up the chin strap when it comes to Madden football. But we had a lot of fun here. Always, each and every Tuesday, joined by Russell Lande. Do we have the list of guests for tomorrow, Samantha? I know we'll have Amanda Ruler, Rick the Ruler, we'll have a CFL rep, we'll have a European League football rep, and we'll have myself along with Amanda Ruler. That's tomorrow. Thursday, we have Dane Vandernat, along with Dean Dalton from the Hall of Fame Village, and Neil Stratton from Inside the League. Of course, it's a Football Friday affair with Big Law. Fernando Ramirez, the LA Chargers beat writer, will join us tomorrow. So we're looking forward to talking some Chargers, some Justin Herbert, who looked very good. We will be back at it again tomorrow. I thank you so much for tuning in. Shout out to all our chat room peoples, the Steeple peoples here on the season 2, episode 12, part 271 on this August 17th, 2021. We'll see you tomorrow on the State of Football. Your home for real football talk.